fudge. Yo, I had my coffee this morning. I made it a point to make my coffee. Woke up this morning, the camper was 57 degrees. Hmm. But I turned on the furnace. Turned on the furnace and quickly brought it up to a comfort 70, 74. That. So good morning from someplace in central Michigan. We'll just say that. And there's always a catch, and the catch being, I on this trip, I was at a Verizon store, and they said, well, you can have, now you can have unlimited data. You can have unlimited data for less than you're paying now. Now you've got something like 12 gigabytes or megabytes, gigabytes, I think. I should know the difference. But now you've got like 12 gigabytes, and now you can actually upgrade, get all the data you want, and at a lower cost. And I said, sounds good. So I'm sitting here yesterday using my internet, and I get this alert, this little alert from Verizon. Warning: you've used nearly all of your 15 gigabytes uh, at such and such a speed, and now you're going to only have such and such a speed, 600 kilobytes, until your cycle renews. So there's a catch, it's like they'll give you all the free data, but after you hit 15 gigabytes, they're going to trickle in the data at 600 kilobytes a second or something like that. Mm. So I'm sitting in the car letting the boss do her meditation. One thing I appreciate about Yanae, she'll meditate in the morning. I'm not quite sure what she listens to something, but she'll meditate, and it's really important to her. And right from the start, she tells me that she meditates, and you know, a person's spirituality, regardless of their denomination or whatever. I think that a person's personality or spirituality is probably the most important thing in a person's life. An individual's relationship, or lack thereof, in the case of Skip Smith, uh, a person's relationship with God, or a God, or something is it's the most personal. It's the most important thing. And I never and I that's somebody on, just like somebody's somebody's sexual disposition. Is that the right word, or right phrase? Sexual disposition. But you know what I mean. So anyway, Yanae is in there. Yanae is in there meditating, and I'm sitting here I'm sitting in the garden. Is where I'm sitting. There was a gentleman that turns out this gentleman has been following me on YouTube for 7 years. 7 years he's been following me on YouTube, and I didn't know really what to expect. He reached out to me and said, if you're going to be by this way, you can camp in our garden. And I looked him up on Google Earth or Google Maps and did the satellite view. I looked him up on that, and from the satellite view, his place looked pretty damn amazing. He's got 10 acres. It's a long, narrow lot. He's got 10 acres, and the front half of it, if that's about half point, the front half of it, I see people are leaving me some messages here. Well, look who I caught live this morning. Good morning. Good morning, Linda. Good morning, Melissa. Or should I say Yoda Gel? But anyway, so about half of the property is like hayfield, and the rest of the half of this property, I believe his wife inherited the property or was given the property, something like that, 10 acres. And the two of them have been married for 48 years. I think he's of Polish descent, half Hungarian or something. But they inherited this property, and they've been married 48 years. They must have met when they were 22, 23. Both school teachers. Both school teachers. He was teaching social studies. I forget what she was teaching. But they built they built this house that's over here. It's a two-story house, and I mean they literally built everything. They absolutely built they built everything. Good morning from Germany. Have a nice day. Thank you, Ola. So they actually built everything in that house, and I mean everything. They invited us in for dinner last night. But anyway, we walked the we got here yesterday at about 4, and he has his campsite already. He's probably watching this video right now. Morning. I won't say his name, but anyway, so we arrived yesterday right at about 4:30, and I think Yanae was a little what's the word, trepidatious or cautious or reserved or something, going to meet a stranger that I've never met before. And all she had to do was walk into this gentleman's garden. She just had to walk into this gentleman's garden, and it just takes your breath away. I mean, they planted everything. We had fresh asparagus for dinner, rhubarb pie from rhubarb from the garden. I hate rhubarb. I passed on the rhubarb and went for the caramel, whatever, yeah, vanilla bean ice cream, something like that. But anyway, so so we walked through the garden, just spectacular. It just plants, trees, shrubs, everything. I mean, it took us the better part of probably 30 to 45 minutes to walk through this garden as he narrated everything, and you can tell that it's his joy. But this gentleman, I keep wanting to say guy, but give credit where credit is due. This gentleman and his wife, they're living my dream. They're living my dream. They're out on a home. The only thing missing is the ocean and the jacuzzi. But they're living my dream. They're on 10 acres. They can't see their neighbor. They've got a garden to die for, and they gave us a nice spot to pitch our camper, and they gave us a choice to park underneath the oak tree near the house. Oak tree being 200 years old, and they gave us the choice to park under the oak tree or park out here toward the hayfield. And as he had a campfire going out here by the hayfield, I opted for the hayfield. But anyway, I was telling him he's been watching my videos for 7 years, and I think back of 7 years of all the travels. And I think back of 7 years of all the travels, also all the girlfriends. 7 years. I asked him last night, in quiet. I asked him. I said, we'll just call him Steve. We'll just call him Steve. So I said, Steve, I said, you've been watching me for 7 years. I said, you've seen me with my share of girlfriends. I said, is there a favorite? And he said, I like them all. He goes, I like them all. He said, your problem is you always break up with them, but I like them all. And, he's right about that. And I don't want to go down that road of discussion about the girlfriends any further. But nonetheless, so what I was thinking about was, and I told him this. I said, you know what? I said, how is it? I said, I personally have no interest in watching videos about other people. I don't sit there, I don't allocate time of my day to watch videos about, other people. Not that there's anything wrong with it, mind you. To each their own. But I asked him, I said, what is it about my videos? What is it about watching YouTube videos, that keeps your interest? And he said, well, you've traveled to a lot of the places that I've traveled to, and it's always fun to go back, and relive those experiences and what have you. But anyway, so what's next? I didn't really fully expect. I'm still learning this camper thing, and maybe there's somebody out there that's watching that can understand, tell me. But I guess I've got 3 power sources. I've got my LP gas. I have my DC battery. It's a marine battery. I think 12 volt. I don't know. A marine battery, and then I have 4. I have solar. So I have solar, and then I have the AC. Well, last night's the first night of our trip that we didn't plug in. And the refrigerator is set up so it will automatically detect which source to use, DC, AC, or gas. And I would have thought that its first choice would have been DC. So I unplugged when we pulled in, I looked at the refrigerator and it's pulling off of the gas. And hmm, anyway, it's just a little bit confusing. I don't want to get somewhere like up in Upper Peninsula, Michigan, and find that I ran out of gas. But anyway, we'll see. So I was thinking, as beautiful as this spot is, and as tempting as it is, and in all likelihood it is that Steve would let us stay another night. I think we're going to move on, and we got to see the West Shore of Michigan. I don't want to let this visit to Michigan go past without taking full advantage and seeing everything that I wanted to see. So, for example, we are about 2 hours from the coast, Lake Superior, I think it is. We're about 2 hours from Lake Superior, and there's a couple options. I've got a client in Kalamazoo, and to keep this a quote unquote, to keep this a business trip, it would be probably apropos. There's your 50-cent word. Probably be apropos to call on my client in Kalamazoo. Hmm. I think their name is Craig and Nancy Lynn. It's the Transmission Clinic. If you Google or just go to Transmission Clinic LLC, I think Transmission Clinic LLC. I think it's Craig and Nancy, if I'm not mistaken, that own that place. So we'll go call on them. And then there's a couple choices to camp tonight. There is, I guess, Howland, Michigan, Muskegon, another place, whatever. But I think what we'll probably do is we'll probably go camp somewhere over there, Muskegon or Howland or something like that. Camp over there, and then towards Traverse City, which would be tomorrow night. And then the Tunnel of Trees. We're going to do the Tunnel of Trees. So we'll hit the Tunnel of Trees, and then uh, that'll be Thursday night. Friday night, we'll probably go up around Charlevoix or something like that. Petrovsky, Charlevoix. Hmm. And then it'll be over. We'll probably stay. Actually, Saturday night we may stay up in Upper Peninsula. Maybe we'll head over towards Upper Peninsula Saturday night, and then hit Minneapolis Sunday night. Call on some clients. So I was talking to Yanae yesterday about where to go, what to do, and I think I got a pretty good idea. I think we're going to forego the Badlands, and we're going to drop down out of Minneapolis and head over to Mount Rushmore and see Mount Rushmore. It's a good. It'll be about a good 8-hour drive from Minneapolis to Mount Rushmore. So that'll be a good day's drive, and in doing so, I'll call on a client in South Dakota. So that'll be a great opportunity to do that. Hit Mount Rushmore and camp there for a couple nights, I think, and then head down to Fort Collins. I got a client in Fort Collins. It's the KOA. If you Google Fort Collins, Colorado KOA. So I have a client there, and he'll probably put us up in a camper cabin. He'll probably put us up there in a camper cabin, and we'll see how that goes. I'm a little bit leery about going to Colorado because marijuana is legal now. Marijuana is legal. I haven't been there since it was legal, and hmm, back in the day, I probably smoked more than my share of marijuana, and it's not a good thing. Smoking dope, drinking. Yeah, I just don't think it's a good thing. But anyway, so what I'm thinking is we're going to go down from Mount Rushmore down into Fort Collins and Denver, and then we'll jet up and go through. I think head over to Salt Lake, and from Salt Lake we'll go due north into Idaho, and go into what is it, Idaho Falls or something, Pocatello. Find our way into Teton and Jackson Hole, Wyoming, Billings and Missoula, and then drop down through through Oregon into dropped down through Oregon into California. Found out yesterday a buddy of mine, probably one of my best friends. He told me that his wife, and he lives in Santa Rosa, right where that fire was. His house was actually spared. A lot of the homes around him burnt to the ground, but mm, he's in Santa Rosa, and we'll call him Dr. Chase. But Dr. Chase told me that his house is going to be empty in July. His daughter and wife are going to Vietnam, and he'll by himself. So maybe he'll let us spend a few nights with him in Santa Rosa. But anyway, so that's it for the morning update. Who's commenting? Good morning, Tom. Hope you have a great day. Thank you, Adam. I think it is A through Z. But thanks very much, everybody. I'm going to call this a wrap. Everybody have a great day, and I think I covered all the bases. So it's interesting talking to Steve about my dad, and just seeing how just listening to how endearing my dad was to him, how much he loved my dad. So anyway, all right, as my dad would say, I love you all. Okay, and have a great day. Okay, bye bye.